Hi, we're glad you could join us again on Power Wheel, TCN's weekly package on activities in Nigeria's electricity supply sector. I am Sheung Olagunju. You're welcome. In a bid to expand and stabilize Nigeria's national grid, the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, has requested an intervention from the African Development Bank, AFDB, to finance some of its projects. TCN's Managing Director, Usman Gur Mohammed, made the request at a meeting with a team from AFDB at the TCN headquarters in Abuja, where he listed critical projects TCN intends to execute to ensure reliable electricity transmission within the country, as well as a robust spinning reserve.
The MD identified projects to improve grid stability, including the provision of a reliable SCADA system and the provision and restringing of some 330 kV and 132 kV lines to support the wheeling of electricity to the north as well as to Togo and Benin republics.
TCN has several issues. One of the issues is the issue of grid stability. And we also have issue of we have grid stability as a big issue. We have issue of transmission expansion. We have issue of staffing. So these are some of the key issues that we have. Now, I want to tell you some of the steps that we have taken so far and what we have planned the bank to support us. As I told you, we are not, our investment, we are doing our investment a project investment. Our investment is not strictly tied to the power sector recovery plan, per se, but we are part of the power sector recovery plan. Because if TCN does not deliver, there's no way we can have the power recovery plan succeed. As at now, TCN has capacity to wheel about 6,500 megawatts.
Mr. Mohammed explained to the team that TCN decided on the option of soliciting support from donor agencies because funds from the public budget are rarely sufficient and sometimes with strings attached.
The best option for us to go to expand the grid, because TCN is still owned by government. It's not owned by any private sector. It's 100% owned by the government. So the only option we can do is to go to the donor community and come up with funding on how we're going to do it.
The MD allayed the fear of limited capacity to handle projects and the issue of auditing, assuring AFDB that measures had been taken to decentralize the supervision of contracts from the headquarters to the regional offices, remodeled the process of selection of supervising staff to be on merit and the takeoff of TCN accounts auditing. He also assured that TCN now has capacity to handle projects of over $100 million in a year. The financial analyst of AFDB, Mr. Richard Ofori Manie, requested for a list of specific projects for which TCN requires AFDB intervention and assigned the AFDB Nigeria Power Coordinator, Ifi Emelife, to follow up.
Rehabilitation and unblocking constraints that will allow you to evacuate more than the 4,500. Which specific projects are being undertaken? Well, it seems to me there is more than enough installed capacity, but you can't evacuate.
The Osogbo Transmission Subregion forms one of the tripod legs in the Benin-Osogbo-Lagos Power Triangle for the evacuation of power from the source to the major load centers. The power triangle is vital for stability and operational efficiency in the grid network. Commissioned in 1968, it also connects the thermal generation to hydroelectric power, hence could be termed the heartbeat of the national grid network. Power Wheel's Ademayowa Adewole spoke to the General Manager Transmission, Osogbo Region, Engineer Shola Adeyemo.
Our center of our activities covers about 6 states in the federations. It covers Osun State, Oyo State, Kwara State, Kogi State, Ogun State, Ondo State, and Ekiti State. If you count that number of states, it's actually about 7 states. When we are talking about critical triangles, we are talking of Ikeja West, that is Lagos, Benin, and Osogbo. When you put nodes in each of these, it represents the 3 angles of a triangle. Why is it like that? That is the center of the grid in the federations. If you are coming from, if you lose supply in any of the, take for instance, Osogbo is connected to Benin through Ihobo line. Benin is connected to Egbin Lagos, then to Ikeja West, back to Osogbo through Ayede. That is why we have complete triangles. If anything happens in this triangle, the grid will collapse. In Osogbo sub-region, we have 2 number 150 MVA transformers at 330/132 kV levels. And we have about 1 under installations, 60 MVA transformer, 132/3. At Ayede, we have another sub-region there. We have 4 number 150 MVA transformers and 3 number, that is at 330/132 kV level. But at 132/3 kV level, we have another 3 number 60 MVA transformer. At Omotosho, presently we have, that is another sub-region headquarters, we have 1 by 150 MVA transformer. At Goma, we have 2 by 150 MVA transformer and 2 by 60 MVA transformers. And under each of the sub-regions too, we have transmission substations. Like for instance, under Osogbo sub-regions, we have Ilesha, where we have 2 by 30 MVA transformer. We have Ile-Ife substations. We have Ofa substations. That is under Osogbo sub-region. Vegetation is one of the problems we have in Osogbo region. Osogbo region happens to fall in the rainforest zones of Nigeria. That is why we have a line going from Omotosho to Benin, and especially most of our 132 kV line passes through thick vegetation area, and we have to be maintaining them and cutting the trees, maintaining the line, maintaining the trees once a year is not enough, because these are fast-growing shrubs and trees. So we have to be maintaining them constantly. Every time you see our linesmen on line, patrolling the line to make sure that there are no trees or vegetation fouling the line. Because if a line is fouled by vegetations, there will be short-circuit current to the ground, and when there will be short-circuit current between that phase and the line will trip. And when the line trips, it can cause the system instability. And therefore, there is need to constantly patrol the line to make sure that this does not occur. Nigeria Civil Defense, the new organizations that is in charge of vandalizations and protecting the government properties, they are doing a lot of work. They are working with us assiduously to make sure that this is eliminated, to make sure that we educate them. The first thing we do is to educate them, tell them the hazardous nature of working or trading or transacting business under the line. That is the first thing we do. And after that, we contact our men and our women, our colleagues in Nigeria Civil Defense organizations. They do help us to drive them away. And that is what we are doing. When you are considering, some people are even building houses under the line without knowing the implications. And some trailers, some sand diggers are even digging under the lines. And we normally make use of civil defense to make sure that we make sure that this does not happen. And we don't want it to affect our lines. Civil defense corporations, they are actually helping us on that.
You're watching Power Wheel. This is part of TCN's efforts at carrying the public along in the activities of power sector operators and stakeholders to improve electricity supply in the country. The program continues shortly. The management of the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, has carried out the reinforcement of a 132 33 kV substation and installed an additional 60 MVA power transformer in Hadejia local government area of Jigawa State, which has increased the capacity in the station with 48 megawatts connecting 3 important feeders, Nguru in Yobe State, Kafing Hausa and Gumel Emirates in Jigawa State. Prior to this reinforcement, the substation in Hadejia had 2 old power transformers of 15 MVA and 7.5 MVA capacity, which were installed in 1991 and 2003. The effective combined capacity of the 2 old transformers was only 18 megawatts. The limited capacity created significant overload of the transformers, leading to poor supply quality and consistent load shedding in the area. Expectedly, the reinforcement of this station will go a long way in improving the electricity supply and socio-economic well-being of the approximately 1.5 million inhabitants of parts of Yobe and Jigawa states. The management of the Transmission Company of Nigeria has expressed immense appreciation to the Nigerian Army for the support given to TCN in the volatile areas of the Northeast and other crisis-affected parts of the country in providing security to TCN engineers and installations. TCN's MD, Usman Good Mohammed, said this when he led the management team on a courtesy visit to the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai, in his office in Abuja.
Perturbed by the incessant destruction of transmission facilities in the Northeast and other crisis-affected part of the country, the activities of the vandals and the need to securely expand the grid network, the TCN MD, while thanking the Army Chief, also sought more support in protecting critical transmission infrastructure.
All the time we have problems, particularly in the Northeast. The Army has always been supporting us, and that's why not too long I came in, I wrote to you that we need to come and meet you to thank you for the support that you have been giving to us. To deploy our investment, we are working to expand the transmission system in the Northeast. We are putting SVC in Gombe to boost the supply of power downwards towards Maiduguri and Yola and January. So in doing that, we are also going to require the support of the Army, because we are going to also extend supply to certain areas that are currently fed on 33 kV. For example, we are looking at supply, extending supply at 132 from Maiduguri to Manguno, from Manguno to Dikwa, from Manguno to Marte to Dikwa, Dikwa to Bama. We are also working to see how we can expand supply from 132 from Maiduguri to Bama, Bama to Goza, and Goza to Bula. We are also looking at putting a 132 line from Damboa to Chibok to Askira, Askira to Uba, and Uba to Mobi. All these areas, if we start the work, we will need the service of the Nigerian Army, because those areas are challenging areas, which even if we have a consultant, it will be difficult for them to enter those areas without the support of the Army.
Speaking on the ongoing TCN project in Niger Delta's area of Rivers, Delta, Imo, and Abia State, Mr. Mohammed also solicited the support and cooperation of the military in coping the menace of kidnapping and other crimes to enable the contractors perform their work.
We are conducting many of the lines in Nigeria, including the line from Afam to Port Harcourt. So in doing all this, we are going to require your service. And currently, actually, we have flashpoints that we need the service of the army, particularly around areas in River State, Imo State, and Abia State, and also in around the Niger Delta generally. We will need your support to tell your people to help us move. Because recently we have had cases where they kidnapped our staff. In fact, our agent in Port Harcourt, about 3 weeks ago, between Ahoda and Uweli, he was kidnapped. It took us 1 week before we were able to collect him from the kidnappers. So we need your support in those areas. On behalf of my colleague who are here with me, and the transmission company of Nigeria, we wish to once again thank the Nigerian Army under your leadership for all the support that you have given us.
The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tuku Brotai, congratulated Mr. Mohammed on his appointment and expressed hope that with the bold steps so far taken, TCN will be repositioned for better service delivery and pledged the support of the Army in providing security.
We know that the role of power in the economy cannot be underestimated. It's a major factor in the economic development of any country. Our country is no exception. So with these bold steps we've taken, we will do nothing other than to continue to support you, to ensure that you succeed. The role we are playing in Northeast is very, very important. Security is key to the stability and indeed the development of all parts of the country. So we'll do everything possible to get the TCN to move into all parts of the Northeast and any other place that has security challenges, including the South-South, the South-East and the South-West as well.
There were questions from the hosts which were duly answered by the visitors, while the Army Chief expressed appreciation to the visiting TCN team with the presentation of a plaque and souvenir.
President of the African Development Bank, AFDB, Dr. Akinwumi Adesina, says Africa requires about $35 billion to close its power deficit. A statement issued in Abuja by AFDB's Acting Director Communications and External Relations, Jennifer Peterson, said Adesina made the remark at the Center for Global Development in Washington, D.C. Adesina said the bank's vision for Africa was encapsulated in the high fives, which are to light up and power Africa, feed Africa, industrialize Africa, integrate Africa, and improve the quality of life for the people of Africa. He said to improve on energy, the bank had launched the New Deal on Energy for Africa with a commitment of $12 billion over the next 5 years, and with the goal of leveraging between $45 billion and $50 billion, and set up a whole new vice presidency just for power and energy, the first and only multilateral development bank to do so. The goal, he said, is to connect 130 million people to the grid, 75 million via off-grids, and provide some 150 million with clean cooking energy. The Power Sector Communications Team, PSCT, has been charged to endeavor to reach more people at the grassroots for the success of the federal government's Power Sector Recovery Program, PSRP. The Managing Director of the Rural Electrification Agency, REA, and coordinator of the PSRP, Damilola Ogunbiyi, said this during a presentation on the PSRP to the team to chart their course of action at the REA in Abuja.
According to Mrs. Ogunbiyi, who is also the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Power, the federal government's Power Sector Recovery Program, PSRP, is a series of carefully thought-out policy and actions operational and financial interventions in the power sector to attain financial viability of the sector and the Nigerian electricity supply industry, NESI.
As we know, we've had programs and roadmaps and all these different strategy documents in the past. What this is trying to do is reset the market and make all the different agencies of government accountable for a certain list of tasks. So it is an intervention to make sure that in 5 years' time we're not here again talking about what is wrong with the power sector, because we've put things in place to make sure that doesn't happen.
Mrs. Ogunbiyi speaks further on the objectives of the PSRP, which include improving power reliability, strengthening of the sector's institutional framework, and increased transparency.
Historically, we owe the power market has a shortfall of 470 billion naira. That is what we've dimensioned that is owed to the market. That is generation companies, gas companies, and maintenance companies. That is what is owed. And also some distribution companies. People are like, how can you owe distribution companies money when they owe you? And a lot of losses you get from collections is the lack of meters. Some people are saying, why should I pay this estimated bill? Where did it come from? How did you know? I was on holiday. How did you know I did everything? So it's a huge problem. And it's very hard for government as well to increase tariffs without people having meters. Because a lot of people don't even know what they're paying for. The people we're trying to protect, the most vulnerable people, the people in the R1 customer class that pay 4 naira or something like, they don't even know that when we increase tariff, their own tariff doesn't increase. They're the first one outside picketing, doing all the rallies. They don't know that their tariff was not touched. But that comes again to communications. The people's tariff that are touched are normally people like you and me and people in industry and things like that. Those are the people's tariffs that are normally affected.
The presentation was part of activities to enlighten the heads and personnel of communication in the power sector on the PSRP and on the importance of developing communication strategy for participants in the sector.
The MD-CEO of TCN, Mr. Usman Gur Mohammed, has reiterated that his mission in TCN are performance and getting results at all levels in order to achieve the federal government's goal of the provision of adequate power supply in the country. The MD disclosed this during his recent visit to TCN's Bauchi region, where he met and deliberated with the staff and management of the region, who intimated him of some challenges militating against the smooth operations in the region.
The General Manager, Transmission, Bauchi Region, Engineer Alim Lawan Idris, who received the MD, expressed his joy and the staff's for the renewed sense of belonging, as no MD of TCN had ever visited the region. The GMT informed of some challenges militating against the smooth operations in the region, which include poor funding and insecurity.
This is a long time we have been waiting. In fact, since I came to this region, we have never visited any executive management visited this region. Manitoba, they have finished their tenure, they have never visited here. We have just been managing ourselves. But we thank God this time around, the MD is here personally in this region, at least to see things himself. So please be open. Say everything you have in your mind.
The MD promised using all available machineries within his power to ensure that all issues are addressed accordingly. He emphasized that his target is to make TCN succeed, and it requires team spirit, transparency, efficiency, adequate funding, and staff welfare.
We are aware that we have done significant reorganization in headquarters. We have done some reorganization in procurement, we have done reorganization in system planning unit. We have done a lot of work and we will continue to do. And for information, we have also got the approval for the creation of Abuja Regional Office. Abuja has been created now and we have approved Abuja will be the regional office. So we have done a lot of work, but it's still more need to be done. More need to be done, and we continue to do the more that we need to do.
The region's principal manager, Human Resources, Mr. Aminu Yehu, also appreciated the MD on his visit.
Sir, you are formally welcome to Bauchi region, and also it is our hope that you are coming to Bauchi region in view of immense significant towards solving issues or other problems we have in the region in order to forge ahead.
The GMT conducted the MD on a tour of facilities at the regional office.
That's Power Wheel for this week. Thanks for always spending your time with us. As we leave you, let's remind you once again that vandalizing transmission or indeed any power equipment keeps us all in perpetual darkness. Protect electricity equipment in your community. They are our collective heritage and responsibility. Also, we would like to let you know that you can watch this edition of Power Wheel or any of our past editions on YouTube. I am Sheung Olagunju. Thanks for watching.